Okay, well, I just accidentally ended the video I literally was making. So if you look, basically all I did was I explained that there's a layer, and this is mesh right here, plastic mesh. There's a layer of charcoal, a layer of rocks between two different layers of mesh, and then I'm putting that on top of the top layer of mesh, which is a mix of this soil fertilizer, old planter stuff, and dirt from the yard, right? So now that I added the initial little boost, now I'll just add a little bit of moisture, because this is what's gonna be, this needs to go down all the way into the filter, right? Get that all moist in there, right? That charcoal layer is filling up, as you can see. Pretty good right there. Then what I'll do is I'll just fill this up. Get all the way in those corners, make sure those corners are stuffed in there. Some of the charcoal is gonna come up, you know, it's not this most professionally built thing, but okay. So that mix right there is gonna be really good for the plants, right? Now, yard soil mixed in with all this weird decomposing shit. You can see, like, there's a stick right there, for example. Pop that off just a bit. All right. Like, okay, well, that's not bad. Pick the side you're going to want to see from. I think this side will be best. And then that's when I'm going to kind of slant it out towards the back, I guess. I think would look pretty nice. Flatten the front a little bit. Bring that down. Brings a little bit of contrast in there, right? And then from there is really up to me at that point on how you, depending on who's doing it. At this point, you can just add stuff, you know. So like, for example, I have these, right? I could start placing those. However, I think I'm going to start with a plant. Quite a wide variety of mosses here. I can do something like that. That's a good moss that I have. All this is moss, different types of mosses. Personally, I'm really digging this fern looking moss right here. So I'm gonna pull this out of my moss section. See that? Bam. And I'm gonna take a chunk of that real quick. Okay. And this is how I like never run out of moss. So now I take that little chunk, put this back in here. Find a place for it. Let it expand, let it grow, let it do its thing, and then I'll have more later. Right? As you can see, there's a little bit of that right there, which is that moss, which has grown quite a bit actually. That's going to kind of accompany it, I guess, is the best way to put it, which is perfectly fine. So now I put that in the corner, okay? So now I'm looking. This right here, to me, this moss right here, beautiful. Beautiful. Thrives in wet areas, as you can see. So like right there, it has a really good coloring. Where it's a little bit drier, it doesn't look as good as that. And you can also tell if you look into it enough that this is actually two different plants combined into one. So what I'll do is I'll just say, okay, so what I want is going to be a mix. So I'll just grab those real quick, right? Separate a chunk of this where I know there's both of those because I want both of them here, right? Shoot, my phone just fell. And then I'll wipe my hands off a bit. I'll pick this up, put it back in. And then as you can see, little spots of that. I'll take this and I'll put it wherever I feel it's best at. Those are more of larger growing mosses, so they're going to be put in the back, intentionally in the back. As you can see, I have all these little flakes and stuff. What I'll do is I'll put them in my flake corner, which is where I put all the flakes. If I really wanted to, I could add this darker stuff in there, which I have too much of. Give a great contrast. So that's probably what I'm gonna end up doing. I'll put it like right there. And then, and just to show you how easy this part is, I'll just take you guys with me. So I'll just walk over here. Right, I need a rock. Right, I could do something fancy. But I'm just walking in the backyard, just looking around. There's one. Probably not one I want though. So we'll just look around just a wee little bit. It's a neat looking rock. Bam. That's how easy it is. Now, normally I'd be a little bit more picky because that's just how I am, but these white rocks will do just fine. So where do I want them, you may think? Okay. I'm gonna put one right there. And one back there. Okay. And I like that look. And it won't be perfect just yet, you know, things will grow into it and everything, and then you'll start seeing like connections. However, I think one thing I feel like would be better is adding some sphagnum moss down there in the front. So I'm gonna add some sphagnum moss too. And ba-bam. Now, there is one more thing I have. Although you should add two more things in my opinion. These, I think, look really nice in these. They won't last forever. Obviously, they'll decompose over time. But these will just look nice. You know what I mean? I mean, you just gotta place them like where you think they'll look best. There. Maybe put a larger one. Try to slide it in the back behind the bush looking one. Take off that tip so nothing can climb out. Like that. And then frankly, I'll just break up this little one. Drop the chunks up there. And then you'll have your terrarium. I would personally, and this is what I'm going to do, but it's kind of up to you. You can either just let this be. You know, this is an airtight container and just cross your fingers that things do work out. Or you can do what I personally would do, which is add isopods in when you know it's going to work. So like roly-polies and stuff is the best way to explain it. But that'll be self-sufficient ecosystem. I would initially, because I've been working on it and some of this stuff has been a little bit less moist, I would just add just a tad bit more water and you're probably going to want to mist it here and there. Right. And then what I'm actually going to do is just put the rest of this in here, because why not? I don't want it to go to waste. And then what I always do when I get to this point where, okay, so a lot of the moss has been, a good portion of it has been removed. That corner I just pulled out, as you can see. You'll see why. Because now that I've made some progress on pulling some clumps out, I can actually push a lot of this back, right? Compact it a little bit more. Put this on that side, right? Open that up. Bring this over. And I'm prioritizing different mosses right now. So I'm scooting this all back. I'm scooting all that into the corner. Open it up. Right? Bringing all the different spaces I just took out and putting them to one big space. That looks like he's dead. But that's a really good thing that you can have in a terrarium. I think he's dead. He's probably dead, but isopod, easy. And then what I'll do is, as you can see, there's the bottom layer of rocks that I use. That's just to like separate the stuff, so it's not just a bare bottom. Anyways, so what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of that potting soil I showed you a little bit earlier, put a little bit of that in that water, right? And then that was the pure gold fertilizer. And I'll take the potting soil that I was telling you about. Bam. Just fill that up, you know. Add another spot for moss to grow. Give the moss some dirt and fertilizer to grow onto. Now I've gotten some fertilizer, so then I'll just pour the rest of my yard dirt in here. Moss is healthy. I just basically fed it, added some new mosses, or took away some mosses, left some more room for moss to grow, right? And bam. And that is how we do things here. I have to go look for isopods, which is normally hard here. So cross your fingers, wish me luck. Before I go and do that, I'm actually going to take a little chunk out of the corner, move all that down there, because that corner is getting pretty full. Maybe pull this out a little bit, which is something I was saving back there. This is a ecosphere rock I plan on using. I'm not going to use it this time, but I'll put it above the moss, and that way I'll remember it next time. And yeah, that's how I do my stuff. So like, subscribe, follow, do whatever you want, you know, have fun.